Dad slapped Mom in court. "You've been useless your whole life." Mom trembled as she signed the divorce papers. I stood up, removed my police cap. "Your Honor, check the last page." Dad's face went pale. The slap cracked through the courtroom so sharply, even the flag seemed to flinch. Mom's glasses slid across the polished floor. Dad's voice followed, cold and pleased. "You've been useless your whole life." For one breath the room held still. I stood. My duty belt tugged as I rose. I removed my police cap and set it on the table like a quiet gavel. "Your Honor," I said, steady. "Check the last page." Dad turned and the color abandoned his face. That moment had roots. I was 8 when I learned silence can be a weapon. The kitchen smelled like burnt toast and coffee left too long on the stove. Winter tapped the window with thin fingers. Mom moved carefully, sleeves tugged down to hide the purple moon on her wrist. She set 2 bowls of cereal on the table and folded a smile over the ache. "Eat before it gets soggy," she said. Dad came in heavy, booted a weather system and a flannel shirt. "Where's my thermos?" he demanded on the counter. Mom answered. He snatched at first, eyes on her sleeve. "Clumsy again, I dropped a pan," she said. He snorted, pleased to be disappointed. "Figures." His gaze skimmed me and my sister. "Leah, I'm not raising 2 princesses who can't do a thing." He shoved the toast so the crumbs jumped burned. He said, "Can't even make breakfast." When the door slammed behind him, the house exhaled. Mom dabbed the counter with a napkin as if she could erase what lived in the air. "He's just tired," she whispered. "He doesn't have to be cruel." I said, "Finish up," she answered. "School starts soon." The wind bit our ankles on the walk to school. Leah's bootlaces trailed like blacktails. "Is Mom okay?" she asked. "She's tough." I told her, polishing the sentence like a coin in a shop window. A TV showed a police officer lifting yellow tape. The officer's face was calm, no shouting, no flinch. Something inside me clicked like a lock. Finding home that afternoon, the house smelled like cornbread. Mom touched my cheek. "How was school?" "Anna, we read about Harriet Tubman." I said, "Brave doesn't have to be loud." "You're right," Mom replied. Dad came home late and drunk his keys. Fumbled the lock. He looked at the cornbread, then at Mom. "You trying to make up for this morning?" "It's cornbread," she said. "You like it with honey." "I like a woman who knows her place." His hand shot out and slapped the plate from her grip. It shattered. Leah screamed. I watched crumbs skitter across the tile like yellow confetti from a party. No one wanted stop. I said, "Quiet," but it drew a line. He turned surprised a child had dared to exist. "What stop?" He laughed. "Warm beer." "Mean, hear that she thinks she's a cop." Mom stepped between us so fast, her shadow split me. "Please." She told him, "Go lie down. I'll clean this." He shouldered past Mom, crouched and picked ceramic teeth from the floor. I knelt beside her. "You don't have to take this." She gathered shards until their edges bit her skin. "You and Leah need a roof." She murmured, "If I leave, where do we go?" I had no answer. That wasn't a fairy tale, so I helped. We cleaned the kitchen, breathing in rhythm like swimmers under the same wave. When we finished water, found the cuts in her hands and she flinched. She shook them dry and smiled small at night. I made lists, facts, feelings, control. Fact. Mom was kind, feeling I was afraid. Control. I could learn to be calm. I could become the person who arrives and says enough on Sundays. When Dad snored through the afternoon, Mom took us to the park. Leah pumped her legs on the swing. I timed the arcs. Bruises changed colors like sunsets, plum to brown to yellow to almost gone. Each time a mark faded, a new one arrived, a season that refused to end. Once a cruiser rolled by, a woman officer lifted 2 fingers from the wheel in a small salute. It felt like a key pressed into my palm. Someday, I decided I would wear calm. I told Mom, while we folded laundry, "I want to be a cop." I said, "I want to be the person who shows up and says enough." She held a towel halfway, weighing me with the gravity she used for real things. "It's dangerous," she said, "but danger doesn't scare you. Seeing people hurt and pretending you can't do anything, that scares you." Her seeing me clearly made my eyes sting. "I'll study hard," I said, "run every morning. Learn the law." She smoothed my hair, "Then do it. But promise me something." "What?" "When you're strong, really strong." "Wrong. Use it to protect. Don't become the thing that made you strong." I promise. Children make promises like paper boats, most sink. Mine didn't. It rode every flood in that house, slammed doors, muttered insults, apologies Mom made to the air. It rode the nights I held Leah in the closet while Dad prowled the hall for a fight he could win. It rode until a badge and duty belt replaced the fear I'd worn like a second skin. Years later in that courtroom, when I stood and set my cap down, the paper boat had become steel, but the forging began here. Burned toast, warm cornbread, park swings, laundry and low promises. People think revenge is loud, the truth is quieter. It's a girl learning the weight of a brim and the sound a key makes when it turns. It's patient stocking shelves no one notices until the door opens and the person you've been building walks through. I grew into the quiet. I learned to take notes no one expected, to read faces, to hold the right word like a tool instead of a blade. I watched Mom place kindness like sandbags against rising water. I saw the cost of it in her hands, so when the slap landed in court and the room froze, I wasn't just a daughter. I was a promise kept, Your Honor, I said. Check the last page. The courthouse walls still echoed in my bones, but the memory that pulled me forward wasn't born in oak benches and raised gavels. It lived in a small kitchen where steam rose from chipped enamel pots and a woman with tired eyes tried to fold hope into every meal. Mom was the kind of woman who could stretch $1 until it squeaked. She carried her bruises like secret heirlooms hidden under sleeves brushed with powder to the outside world. She was quiet, maybe even frail, but I knew the truth. She was steel that had learned to bend without breaking. She endured because of us. At night, after Dad stumbled into bed smelling of whiskey and cigarette ash, she stayed up under the dim lamplight mending Leah's torn skirt or ironing my uniform. The iron hissed and whispered. Her eyes half closed, but her hands steady. I just want you girls to have better. She'd murmur when she caught me watching better. The word clung to me, but better meant sacrifice. I remember the way she'd linger at the grocery store, calculator in hand, weighing bread against milk. Sometimes she skipped meals and told us she wasn't hungry. We were too young to know. Hunger leaves fingerprints. Why don't you leave him? I asked once, voice quivering. I must have been 12. She froze over the sink, dishwater swirling around her wrists for a moment. Her back was a mountain I couldn't climb.